Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!
Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, how dare you, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you'd like to join the community debate, then go to nathanoakley.com and check out the Flat Earth Debate forum, which you should definitely all join. If you'd like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live. There's also a PayPal, Patreon and crypto link in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected. And if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel. So please share the show on Facebook and Twitter. And one last time, if you're new to the channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. Now, we are joined by Ranty Flat Earth, Flatzoid, Righteous Force, Paul, Arwin, Chocolate Sane, and 10th Man. Very good to have you all.
Hello, hello. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Hello. Afternoon.
Hello, hello, hello. We've also got a fair few people on Discord, so welcome one and all in the Discord server as well.
Hey, how are you doing, Nathan? Good to be here.
Right on. Save me doing it. Any signs of Earth curvature, ladies and maybe gentlemen? Gentlemen and maybe ladies, I should say.
What?
Observably flat.
Not of the Earth-based variety, no.
Oh, that's just too flat.
About axial rotation.
I've seen plenty of curvature, but not of the Earth-based variety.
Right. Naughty boy.
What about axial rotation?
Nope. No Earth-based Coriolis.
Yeah, definitely.
Coriolis.
Flat Earth Debate, right?
Too soon.
Flat, stationary, not moving, no demonstrable Coriolis, no deviation in aeroplanes, no 1.5-hour flights from Charlotte to LA. You have to be on your mute button, Ranty. Lots of your wind noise as you're up the ladder, presumably.
Could you hear that? I had it on mute.
You're not on mute.
My bad.
All right. Any evidence of a molten iron core at the centre of a presupposed spherical Earth?
No.
No, only yummy marshmallows.
Still not on mute. Any evidence of the presupposition itself, the R value?
Nope.
Well, there is evidence
The
of a
R being on here.
presupposition, but
Go on, Arwin, sorry.
there is an evidence of a presupposition.
Yes, there's always evidence that they utilise the presupposition at nausea. There's
Exactly.
seldom a globe claimed to be proof that's not utilising that R value, correct?
I have proof that they apply
It's
R.
not Ranty, it's 10th Man. 10th Man. Near you breathing down your mic. Any evidence, scientific evidence of gravity?
I'll accept the apology, Dave. Thanks.
Sorry, Ranty.
What is gravity?
Gravity.
I don't know what
Apology
it is, but
retracted.
it's not going to be causing anything until they know what it actually does.
What it actually is.
So
I like this new attitude,
we
Owen.
got a while then.
I like Owen's new attitude towards gravity a lot. Any evidence that you can have gas pressure without the necessary antecedent of a container to press upon?
It's going to be tough.
No. Definitely no.
Any evidence of the distance to the sun?
No.
Just claiming.
Nope.
No matter how much they like to assume that our model has physical bodies hovering over that disk, there's no actual evidence that there is a distance to the sun or any of it other than an apparent distance.
Right on. Well
Yeah, it's
said.
just assumptions.
I think that's it. I think that concludes the housekeeping. Thank you to all who took part.
It goes too quick these days.
Housekeeping? It's because there's no fundies challenging anything anymore. But why would they? They wait till the housekeeping's over and then they'll come in and assert things like Coriolis through the back door, rather than saying, yes, I have evidence that Earth has an axis that is rotating. We have this thing called the Coriolis effect. Oh, really? What about hovering helicopters? We don't have Coriolis effect. No, that's not how it really goes.
Hey, did you see us on Jose's being subjected to the housekeeping questions of Bob the Science Guy? It was pretty funny. Riley and me had a lot of diverse answers, but we would just answer every one of them.
Right.
And then I asked, like, yeah, how about our housekeeping questions over there at the debate? They literally ignored that, of course.
Did you?
It was probably like mutter, 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 whisper, whisper, whisper.
I did wonder.
Yeah, you just don't understand what you're talking about.
I saw Jose had a big audience, and I was like, oh, I wonder why the audience numbers are so much bigger over Jose's. And I went in and found that you and and Sleeping Warrior, and I'm like, oh, right, that's why.
Yep.
Had Schrodinger's
I
cat.
like to get on with him.
Yeah, Schrodinger's cat
Yeah.
on the show, and Schrodinger's cat asserted that hovering helicopters have got nothing to do with Coriolis. I'd just like to point out to Schrodinger's cat that that is precisely our argument, that you should have Coriolis underneath something that's left the rotating reference frame if you have a Coriolis. He then went on to assert that it only has anything to do with things that move north. So from the chat, I was pointing out with some rather berating swear words about his name, that he's asserting that there's zero rotation underneath a hovering helicopter, but if it moves north, it starts rotating underneath it, according to Schrodinger's cat, who, let's be honest, is also completely idiotic. No, Schrodinger's cat. Our argument is that you should have Earth rotating underneath the helicopter if it's asserted you have Coriolis, because upon leaving the reference frame, you see a deviation, because the reference frame continues to rotate underneath. That's what gives you Coriolis. So asserting that hovering helicopters have nothing to do with Coriolis, that would be our argument, my friend. That's right, they don't, but they should, given that they've left a rotating reference frame claimed to deliver Coriolis deviation. Uh-oh. Bit of a problem, fundies.
They live in the should world.
The not real world.
Yes.
Yeah, we need to put them to task.
They stick to what should be, and then ignore that it's not.
Well, that
Even
was
though
just
they
about-
do explain that they do see that.
Exactly.
It's very weird.
Exactly. So that's what we should put them to task to. They say Earth and atmosphere travel as one. It's spinning together, and that creates a single reference frame that will demonstrate no deviation. So first and foremost, they're flying in the face of Coriolis effect. Oh, we don't observe Coriolis effect because Earth and atmosphere spin as one. So first we need to see a demonstration of that being the case on a small scale. I'd like to see a roundabout, a nice open system like Earth is claimed to be, with a drone launching from the spinning reference frame of the roundabout and continuing to hover above where it took off on the rotating reference frame. So you draw a little X on the outside edge and put your drone on it. You then start your roundabout spinning and then launch the drone and demonstrate that it carries on above the X, like the helicopters are claimed to do on the rotating Earth, when there's no Coriolis effect. So once they've demonstrated that a roundabout and drone can yield a zero Coriolis effect, once they've demonstrated that, they can then come on, present it to me, and have me laugh my tits off at the fact that they've just proved a lack of Coriolis effect. and they're supposed to have one on a spinning ball Earth. So that's what they need to do. Prove Earth and atmosphere can travel as one, yielding no Coriolis, and that drone can stay hovering above the X on the roundabout, like they claim helicopters hover above the ground that's spinning on Earth, not giving them Coriolis effect. Yeah, that's what they need to do.
But
Defy their
they
own
don't even
rhetoric of Coriolis.
Nathan.
Go
But
on.
they don't even understand the word demonstration.
Hold on a sec. There's already a video of that. Some guy has a drone on like a roundabout, and then he takes it off. Like Redman showed me this video. It's by Christopher Lum, and it's called Coriolis Effect Demonstration with Drones. So anybody wants to look that up?
Yeah, you
There
guys
go.
haven't seen it? I posted it in Master B.
Hold on a second. If you're
I
saying
think
it's
a
a...
little bit.
Hold on. If it's a Coriolis demonstration, it's not what I'm asking for. They claim that the helicopter hovers, not giving a Coriolis effect. In other words, you draw an X underneath a physical helicopter in a field, and you get it to hover, and the X stays below it. That's, according to them, a lack of Coriolis. No Coriolis deviation. It not rotating underneath. But the whole thing's rotating together still. They still use it as an argument for rotating. So to prove that that can be the case, they need a drone to hover above an X on a rotating roundabout. Not demonstrate Coriolis. So you're saying you've got a guy who launches a drone off a roundabout and he rotates underneath, exactly as you'd expect, and require to have any Coriolis deviation. It hovers, you go underneath, yeah? Well, they're saying the opposite. We don't have Coriolis, even though they argue for having an Earth-based Coriolis effect, by saying that you can hover in a helicopter. Well, no, you should never be able to hover in a helicopter. Earth's rotating underneath, according to you fundies, who claim we have a Coriolis effect. So that's a demonstration of a lack thereof, and to prove that that can happen on a rotating platform, which is what they're also claiming, they need to demonstrate a drone above an X on a rotating roundabout. They'll never do it, but that's what they're claiming.
Can I intersect
But,
for just a second?
but they have found a solution to this, though. They are simply not taking the Coriolis effect at the really is level. That way they're always safe.
Yeah, they often work at the not really is level.
So I had probably two of the most quote-unquote educated Globers on my channel last night, George, Nathan Oakley, and the Rumpus. So no matter what you think about these guys, but they
sorry,
claim
that can't
to
stand
be...
as a claim. George is batshit insane. He's senile. He's not intelligent. I don't know why you'd start out your opener and expect me to let that fly. No, demonstrably insane. Also, a very short memory. So I said something to him, debunking his assertions. Within moments of me leaving, he reasserted his position, presumably because his senility has taken such a strong hold that he can't remember something someone said to them 2 seconds earlier.
Well,
No, that's not senility, that's amnesia.
Essentially, they still have these qualifications if you believe their own rhetoric about who they are and what they do. But they came on and they talked specifically about this. And the Rumpus, for instance, I asked him a direct question. I said, if the plane travels for 1,000 miles and the distance is 1,000 miles from point A to point B, how far does the plane actually travel? And he said 1,000 miles. I said, so it doesn't move with Coriolis then? And he said, well, it does slightly. I says, well, how much? He says, well, it's so minute that you wouldn't even notice. So effectively, he said there's no Coriolis effect. That's how I interpreted it.
Proving he doesn't understand.
By saying, no, not that he doesn't understand, he's saying not notice. Coriolis is noticing it deviate. So by saying so little you wouldn't notice is to say you won't observe any apparent deviation. The distance is the same. It's not rotating underneath. So it seems not only is George insane, but so is Rumpus. You must observe apparent deviation for there to be a Coriolis effect, and Rumpus's argument is the so little you won't observe it. Oh, Rumpus, you must observe it for there to be Coriolis effect. Your argument that it's so little you wouldn't observe it is in essence a defiance of an observation of Coriolis deviation. So you're saying we won't observe Coriolis deviation. Oh, well, that's pissing in the face of your globe earth rhetoric. You're supposed to observe it. There's supposed to be a deviation. You're supposed to have a Coriolis effect. It's absolutely an observable effect, and you're saying you won't observe it. So that's a bit of a problem, Rumpus. It seems you're as stupid as senile old bastard George. You're supposed to observe it.
Well, their claim is that the atmosphere is moving in lockstep with the Earth, and the molecules inside the air push the plane.
No
So
worries.
if the Earth
So
is
they
traveling
need-
at 1,000 miles an hour,
So
the
if
atmosphere
the
is
Earth-
traveling at
Can-
1,000
can I-
miles
can
an
I
hour.
ask
If the
a
Earth and
question?
atmosphere travel as one, then you only have one reference frame and you will not notice any deviation because there isn't any. They're one reference frame. In order to observe apparent deviation from the rotating reference frame as something leaves the reference frame, you need it to leave the reference frame and have that frame rotate underneath. To have Coriolis, Earth must rotate underneath. Well, that would change the distances if it's rotating underneath, because you're flying in an inertial reference frame at a given distance with Earth rotating underneath, if you're going to observe any deviation, which Rumpus claims you won't. So it seems he's flying in the face of any apparent deviation, because according to him, it's not apparent. You won't
Can I
notice
put
it,
a
it's not
question
apparent.
out there?
Well, so him arguing, like George, for Earth and atmosphere travelling as one, has got three problems. One, show us a demonstration of a helicopter/drone hovering above an X on a rotating roundabout to demonstrate that that is indeed possible, given that Earth is claimed to be an open system like the roundabout will be that you demonstrate it on. That's the first problem. The second problem is that claim flies in the face of gas law. Gas law is not carried along with Earth because it is unbonded not only to itself but definitely not to the Earth. It's not bonded in their open system. It's completely free to move randomly in all directions. That's problem two. So number one, no demonstrations of things defying Coriolis, drones on roundabouts above X's as they rotate. Number two, you've got a problem of gas. Gas doesn't behave that way. It's not bonded. It's not velcroed to anything. It's free to move completely freely. Not travelling as one with a ground that moves. And thirdly, you've got surface winds, demonstrably obviously debunking any notion that Earth and atmosphere are travelling as one, because you've got directions of winds that fly in the face of that, very literally, going in all directions, like the gas, which also debunks them, and no demonstrations of a claim that flies in the face of Coriolis to begin with. Their demonstrations, if they were to give them, of a drone flying above an X like they claim helicopters do and planes do, not showing any apparent deviation, so little that it's not apparent anymore, this apparent deviation they're supposed to have, well, that's a bit of a problem. They've got a threefold problem. One, they can't demonstrate that to be the case on a roundabout. If they did, it's a demonstration of a lack of Coriolis, which is supposed to be on Earth. Number two, multiple surface winds, which I've pointed out to the senile bastard, he just didn't hear me. Started shaving. That's what his reaction was. And thirdly, gas. So, yeah, you overcome all those problems to prove we don't have Coriolis. And once you do, I'll laugh and point out that you're proving you don't have Coriolis, something you're supposed to have on a spinning ball Earth. Fun, fun, fun!
So, Nathan, just to bring up the first one, you're pigeonholing the experiment, not what science does. You're saying that you have to demonstrate it to me
Experiment?
on a... Yes.
What's the independent and dependent variable in the hypothesis? Sorry, you said experiment. What's the independent and dependent variable in the hypothesis for this experiment?
Oh, Nathan, but I see the thing is you're telling me I have to do that experiment. What I'm saying is...
It's not an experiment. I didn't say the word experiment.
Told you they don't understand
You're wrong.
demonstration.
Experiment on the merry-go-round.
Shut him up. I did not use the word experiment. So while this asshole just continues to misrepresent what I have said, I will point out nice and calmly, without him rumpusing the shit out of me, that I did not use the word experiment.
My apologies then. You said you wanted a demonstration with a merry-go-round and a drone. I'm saying that's pigeonholing what the actual demonstration could be, which are two rotating reference frames that, as you actually rightly point out, can be out of lockstep with things like wind and stuff like that. But what is claimed is not an inertial and a moving reference frame, an inertial and a non-moving reference frame, but two reference frames that can interact with each other, do mostly interact with each other.
I'm going to have to repeat all that. My kid was screaming her head off. Can you say that again?
Hang on, are we talking about Coriolis here?
Yes.
Coriolis doesn't apply to the Earth. The Earth isn't moving. You need to have a moving reference frame for Coriolis to apply to, and one stationary. Well, we don't have anything that's moving.
Yeah,
Everything's
this guy
stationary.
is trying to catch up.
Yeah. So let's
Apparently-
prove that the
You
Earth's
don't-
turning before we start talking about Coriolis.
Right.
You don't have to have. You can have two reference frames that are not moving at the same rate or rotating at the same rate in order to produce
Yeah,
a
so then
Coriolis effect.
that
You don't have
requires
to have
evidence
one
that
completely
one of them being
stationary and one
Earth is moving.
That's a good question, Anthony,
Right.
because
Is-
what's your evidence that the Earth is moving?
Yeah, you need to have a moving reference frame
This
for it to
is-
work.
This is where we get that silence,
Yeah, I know,
right?
but you
When
can
we
also
ask
have
for the
two
evidence.
moving reference frames. You can also have two moving reference frames with two different angular momentums to produce a Coriolis effect.
Yeah,
All right,
so
that's
let's have
fascinating.
evidence that
Wait,
one of
wait.
the reference frames is moving, like specifically the Earth.
Excuse,
It's
Sorry,
funny they're
ask your
describing
question
what's supposed to occur, and which is fine. I think we agree on what's supposed to occur. But like Anthony said, where's the evidence that the Earth is moving? It's not stationary.
Because if you can't prove the Earth's
Yeah,
turning,
you
then
can,
there is
you
no
can use a ring
Coriolis.
laser gyro. You can use a ring laser gyro to measure the movement, the angular momentum of the Earth at 15 degrees
All
an
right,
hour.
okay. So how are you going to know it's the Earth that's rotating?
Because it's whatever it is fixed to is what it is rotating on, and you can actually test that.
Okay, so
You know what the ring?
No, you can test the.
So let's just
You know
get
what the
straight.
ring laser
Hold on,
gyro measures,
hold
though,
on,
right?
Hold on. He's saying the ring laser gyro proves the Earth rotates underneath that frame of reference at 15 degrees an hour. If the Earth,
No, no,
I hadn't finished. If
That's
the
not
Earth,
what I said, though. You're misrepresenting what I said.
so is it a demonstration of two reference frames with the gyro
What
in
is a
one? I
demonstration
still
of
haven't
is that the
finished.
Earth,
And you're
what is
talking
it-
through
which
me.
it is
What's wrong with you,
attached to, is
Fundy?
rotating.
Do you know what's coming? Is that the problem here? That you know what's coming? That you know how I'm going to absolutely
No,
rip
but
this a new one, and now you've got to talk through every
No,
single
you're-
time I rebut you and say that I've not said
just
correctly what you've asserted,
you
and then
straw man.
talk over me continually like you're doing now. I'm summarising your position. Your position is that you have two
No,
reference
you're not.
frames.
You're misrepresenting it. But that's
Well, then
not-
summarise your position again. What does the ring laser gyro demonstrate? Which is which reference frame, please?
No, I'm sorry. That's a straw man. It's not.
That's a question, obfuscating asshole. I'm asking which is which reference frame, and you're saying it's a straw man. No, it's a question for you to clarify your position. But you don't want to clarify your position because you know what's coming.
I'd be happy to.
Okay, I'll ask again.
I'd be
Let's see if I can ask again and you can answer my question. Specifically tell me which is in which reference frame. So start by the inertial reference frame is, and then tell me what's in it. Then tell me what the non-inertial spinning reference frame and what that is. Go.
Yeah, the ring laser gyro is attached to the Earth in this particular demonstration or measure.
That's wrong. You don't understand how the ring laser gyro works. The ring laser gyro is in the inertial reference frame, and it's demonstrating a deviation of the spinning reference frame underneath its fixed frame in the inertial reference frame. So telling me that it's attached is incorrect. The whole point of the gyro is to give it a separate reference frame from what is deviating from that fixed reference frame. So you don't even understand how the ring laser gyro is used as this demonstration, as you've just claimed that it's attached to the spinning reference frame. It's absolutely not. It's rotating independently of the spinning reference frame, not attached. You are wrong. End of your involvement in this conversation. Go and learn how your religion claims the gyro proves Earth rotates underneath its fixed frame. Okay? Not attached. Hello? Not attached. You are wrong. Hello?
Meisty.
They can't hear it, Nathan.
He's
Oh,
not
no.
attached.
Just making them blink.
Oi! You asserted the ring laser gyro is attached to the spinning frame. You are wrong! Hello? Are we getting through to you, Dumbo? No, clearly he's just going to descend into silence. RC Meisty is a retard. He simply doesn't understand how reference frames work and how the ring laser gyro is claimed to demonstrate that the rotating frame of Earth is rotating underneath the fixed frame of the gyro. In other words, absolutely not attached to it, as he's asserted, because he's a moron and wrong. It's spinning independently of the reference frame that's rotating underneath it, RC Meisty. That's how it gets the two reference frames. You're incorrect.
I'm
wrong. Yes, that's right. You said it was attached to the reference frame that's spinning. It isn't.
I think he's roboting really bad, at least on my end.
His algorithm is breaking up.
So that's what we get here. Fundies who want to tell us about how Coriolis works that simply don't understand the nonsense that they're spouting. When asked quite specifically which reference frame is what and what's attached to it, he tells me that that's a straw man, even though it's a question, and then when he clarifies, he's wrong. So not a straw man, a question you got wrong. You want to explain to me why you called it a straw man when it was a question that you just didn't know the answer to and asserted the wrong answer for?
Yeah, sure. I can tell you why it's a straw man. It's because you keep saying the word underneath.
Yeah, it must rotate underneath. That's what gives you the Coriolis effect. You on a roundabout with a drone above it hovering. The drone's not flying towards you and away from you. You're rotating underneath.
Which is a false
Should I pull out? Should I pull out fellow Glober's kosher citation?
What he's doing, Chocolate, is he's asserted that it's attached, and now he's saying that my pointing out what is necessitated to have Coriolis is a straw man, because he's going to presumably argue about how the plane and atmosphere and Earth are all travelling as one, attached, which doesn't give you Coriolis.
That's why it's a straw man.
Oh, so he is going to argue for a situation that doesn't give him Coriolis, because they're all attached. Like he thinks the frame of the gyro is attached to the spinning Earth. He's just wrong!
With a bit of nuance.
He's just wrong! You don't understand this stuff. Not straw man, your mistake!
No, Nathan, you keep trying to bring the idea of reference frame by saying underneath.
Yeah, let's say it again for this stupid dick who is wrong. In order to have a Coriolis effect, you leave a spinning reference frame, for example, a drone on a roundabout. It's in your hand rotating on the roundabout, part of the roundabout, in essence, attached. Upon leaving that roundabout, no longer being attached, and with the roundabout rotating underneath, you observe an apparent deviation. That apparent deviation is the deviation that appears to be the drone flying towards you and away as you rotate underneath. So you want to tell me again how rotating underneath is a straw man, when in fact it's the very essence of Coriolis?
If we would like...
come on, let him. Come on. Is he still there?
Just whenever he gets absolutely obliterated, he just descends into this quivering little bundle of fear in silence, rather than addressing the fact that leaving the rotating reference frame, allowing it to rotate underneath, is the very essence of Coriolis.
The drone is operating.
Oh, so he's going to talk while I'm talking. Long silence, then I talk to summarise his position that they're attached, defying Coriolis. He'll talk through me and then presumably claim he's won. He's made his point through me, shouting at him that leaving a rotating reference frame and allowing it to rotate underneath is what gives you Coriolis, not a straw man. The essence of Coriolis. That would be another protracted silence. Yeah? You're going to start talking now? I'm talking again, pointing out how you're wrong, Fundy. They're not attached. They're separate. And upon leaving that rotating frame, you get Coriolis.
Nathan, you're being way too really is for this guy.
Yeah,
Hold
I
on.
Shouldn't be operating on the really is level for this guy. Should we operate on the really isn't level of drones tracking along with roundabouts when they're hovering? Should we work at the really isn't level where these frames of reference are attached?
That's a false equivalency, Nathan.
Arwin, go to Skype real quick and show that that citation again, just to have it on screen.
Oh,
He's in Discord, so post it to him in Discord. Have him read
I'll do that too.
Give
me a sec.
Have this retard read out how he's in defiance of what the globe Earth rhetoric claims Earth should do. Earth rotates underneath to have Coriolis. He's saying me claiming and using the words rotate underneath, while he simultaneously wants to example how they're attached, even though I've got him to define, like I did with Zanuck, what's in what reference frame. And he's saying attached. Wrong, Fundy! You're incorrect. But you're still blabbering on, aren't you? How I'm strawmanning you by saying it should rotate underneath, as it absolutely must to have a Coriolis effect at all.
No, see, and there's the false equivalency. Then that you're saying it absolutely. You're telling the other person what their argument has to be.
No, I'm telling you what Coriolis is. I'm not telling you what your argument is. Your argument is that these two frames of reference are attached. And when I point out that means you're immediately going to go to arguing Earth and atmosphere attached as one reference frame won't give you any Coriolis effect.
That Nathan, I didn't say that.
I'm saying it! What is this? What is the fundamental problem with these retard fundies that me pointing out where they're wrong suddenly in their brain translates to that's the argument I'm not making? No, Fundy, I'm pointing out to you, my name is Nathan Oakley. To leave the non-inertial spinning reference frame is to have Coriolis. It rotating underneath is what gives it you. Okay, Fundy, I'm saying it.
Yeah, Nathan, and what I'm trying to tell you is that it's a bit more nuanced than that. And you have
a bit more nuanced than a rotating frame of reference and you leaving it and then seeing it appear to come closer and further away as you rotate underneath. You think it's a bit more nuanced? No, you think they're attached, and you are wrong.
Hey, Nathan, well, guess what? That's a wonderful
RC Meisty, are you in the live stream chat? Can you go to the live stream chat, please?
On Discord.
Yes, please.
Yes. Please look for a citation with the words on top, Thought Company, about the Coriolis.
Sure, since Nathan's been talking for the past 10 minutes, I wanted to actually just make my very clear.
No, you can read out the citation. Read out the citation that makes it absolutely plain that Earth rotates underneath, something you've claimed to strawman, and now I've just decided to assert that as me talking for 10 minutes, when no, I'm obliterating your position. Now I'm being backed up by a citation from someone else. I don't need the citation, but to humiliate you into how wrong you are, you're gonna read it. Not just say I've talked for 10 minutes and then hand wave what I've said. Fundy, read the citation.
Then you have an
read the citation.
Of the
Read it.
Effect, okay? We're sick of all these misinterpretations. It's very clear what it is. Either you have Coriolis or you don't. Reference frame, one reference frame. Done. It's that simple.
Not for them, apparently.
Well, I want to hear him read it.
Yes, read the citation. That's what I want to hear. I want to hear him read the citation.
Shout out to Flatulent Unicorn who says RC Fundy. Yeah, right on. Let's hear him read. Go ahead, RC.
It is one explanation of how.
Yeah, you're not reading it. You're justifying how it disagrees with you before you've read it. Do you want to just read it?
No.
You don't want to read it?
No, I'm driving right now, so.
Oh, that's unfortunate. Then in that case, we'll get somebody else to read it for you. All you need to do is shut up and listen.
Oh, Nathan, I've shut up for the past 10 minutes. You've yelled.
No, you haven't. You've asserted that reference frames are attached when they're not. To have Coriolis, you must leave the rotating reference frame, allowing it to rotate underneath. You've told me that's a straw man, when it's the essence of Coriolis. You keep demonstrating
yeah,
how
it is,
wrong you
because
are,
that's-
and when I point out how wrong you
you're
are,
gonna
you do what
demolish
you're
my
doing now,
argument,
which is talking through me, rather than accepting how wrong you are and how I'm demonstrating that. When I finished, you then
So
say,
if you wanna
I've been
destroy me,
talking for
quote
10
unquote,
minutes,
Nathan, then you
even
have to
though
address
you're
what I
talking
said.
through
Now-
me, so you can ignore the demolition of your incorrect assertion that these frames of reference are attached. They are not. You are wrong. And the reference we have sent you, the citation we asked you to read, will make that plain. But I want you to shut up and listen while it's read out. I haven't got it. I'm not reading it. Somebody else will read it out, hopefully. Anybody? Anybody at all?
Armin?
I can read it if you want.
Yes, please, Chocolate. That'd be wonderful.
What exactly was
It's
I
okay, Arwen. I
supposed
think
to...
Chocolate's on it.
Yeah, Arwen, you want to
Told
read
you they don't understand.
the citation that I just posted?
The last
Wow.
post, Master B?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
The Kosho citation, I should add. This was a Glober provided citation. Let's be clear with that.
That's fine. That's fine, but pigeonholing definitions is your...
No, it's just a citation that defines what the Coriolis effect is and how it disagrees with your assertion that you have attached reference frames, which is incorrect. Your assertion that I'm strawmanning you when I continually point out that you must rotate underneath to have Coriolis. Not a strawman, a fact of the Coriolis, which is going to be read out without you interrupting now, like he's just done. You see, I have to mute these fundies because every time I point out how wrong he is, he talks through me. Now, occasionally I'll take him off mute so the audience knows he's talking through me, but he thinks that by talking through me, it'll somehow stop him hearing it, but also stop the audience hearing me pointing out how wrong he is. These reference frames aren't attached. Yeah, they do have to rotate underneath. You'd have to have Earth rotating underneath the helicopter to observe an apparent deviation. Not attached, not travelling as one, deviating, rotating underneath. Now, you keep saying that's wrong and that I'm strawmanning you, and I'm not. I'm demolishing your position that they're attached. When they can't be attached to have Coriolis, they must be separate. So, okay, Fundy.
Nathan, I didn't say attached.
Yeah, I asked what the frame of reference the gyro in was, and you said attached.
I did not say the atmosphere is...
I didn't say atmosphere. I made it clear. I asked you what the gyro was doing, what the Earth was doing, which was in which reference frame, and where they were in relation to their reference frame. I made it clear what I wanted. You told us they were attached. You were wrong.
Nathan, what I said...
Now you're talking through me, asshole. So yeah, like I just pointed out to my audience, every time I demolish him and his lies... Yeah, you said they're attached, liar. Liar!
Nathan,
Liar! You lie! I made it clear. I'm pretty pedantic. I make sure to get people to tie down their position nice and clearly. So when after the fact they say, I didn't say these reference frames were attached, because my argument that they are attached is absurd! It can't give Coriolis! Yeah, they'll lie and say they weren't arguing for them being attached, even though I've made absolutely damn clear with his explanation of what's what, that they are being claimed to be attached. And now he's a liar. A liar who's talking through me right now because he doesn't like his lies highlighted. You're a liar, R.C. Meister. You said they were attached. I made it damn straight that they must be separate. Liar.
I did not say that the atmosphere is...
I didn't say atmosphere. We weren't talking atmosphere, liar, as you try and weasel around July. We were clear. Ring laser gyro was your example. In its separate reference frame. You said that was attached. You were wrong. Your example of those reference frames was given with a ring laser gyro.
No, that was not exemplifying reference.
No, that was not mumble, mumble, mumble. Yeah, you made sure to give us the answers that I asked for. You said they were attached. I got very cross and shouted at you and pointed out that wouldn't yield a Coriolis effect. And it's incorrect! You were wrong. You've still not conceded that your declaration, which has been dedicated to air and recorded, will go out on 2 separate channels, with me clarifying what the positions were, with the things you were claiming, in this instance a gyro. Yeah, I made clear to get your position straight. You said attached. Now you're lying. Simple.
Nathan, what did I say it was attached to? Can you quote me on what I was saying it was attached
Yeah, the
to?
rotating reference frame. You said the gyro was attached to that.
Yeah, there you go. I said the gyro was attached to that.
Yeah, it was recorded and broadcast live. So now you're going to shut your mouth while we hear the reference you've obfuscated for the last 5 minutes. All we've heard is RC Micey babbling on about his lies. I don't want to hear any more about your lies. We know you're a liar. I know you said they were attached. I screamed it down the microphone. I know how pissed off I get when people declare that you won't have Coriolis effect when their religions say that they should. That's what you're doing.
Nathan,
yeah? Now you're just talking through me non-stop.
All I'm demonstrating is...
All you're demonstrating is that you can talk through me non-stop to try and obfuscate your lies and your deceit and your incorrect position which you don't understand. That's all you can do, talk through me. So you're going to shut up and listen to the citation you couldn't read because you're driving, read to you, without you interrupting it.
Sure, no problem.
Go ahead, Darwin.
The object is not actually moving off its course. It only appears to be doing so because the Earth is turning beneath it. The main cause of the Coriolis effect is the Earth's rotation. As the Earth spins in a counterclockwise direction on its axis, anything flying or flowing over a long distance above its surface is deflected. This occurs because as something moves freely above the Earth's surface, the Earth moves east under the object at a faster speed.
Rest in peace.
RC Meisty, is it a straw man for me to make it absolutely plain that Earth would need to rotate underneath a helicopter in order to observe this effect? Is that a straw man or the very demolition of your argument using what is needed to have a Coriolis effect? Straw man or demolition? Vote 1 in the chat. Vote 1 in the chat if you see this as a demolition of a fundy's assertion that they travel as one reference frame attached. Or number 2, if you think this is actually a straw man.
No, Nathan, your lack of understanding of what was just understood.
Oh, third option. So option 1, it's an absolute demolition of his assertion that you have attached reference frames. Number 2, it's actually my lack of understanding. No, this is a demolition of your assertion that Earth and atmosphere are travelling as one, that you don't have Coriolis effect. Your lies about you saying they're not attached. Yeah, this is what this is about. You said it's a straw man to say that things are rotating underneath to have Coriolis effect, in this case Earth. It's a straw man. You keep misrepresenting the position. It's a bit more nuanced than things rotating underneath.
It is quite...
A bit more nuanced. No, my friend, it's not nuanced. Earth must rotate underneath to have Coriolis effect. Me pointing that out nice and succinctly after the citation's been read out, where it uses words like beneath and rotating, yeah, that would be me pissing in the face of your claim that you don't need that. And you're wrong.
So if I would have been the one writing that particular thing...
You're not the one writing that, are you? Everything seems to be about you and what you're claiming. We're claiming it. We didn't write it. We've cited it. It was originally from Kosho. It's not from you. It just demolishes your argument.
No, all I'm saying...
No, it does. You seem to focus on me saying things must rotate underneath helicopters to have Coriolis is a straw man. No, it's the necessary requirement to have Coriolis. Earth must rotate under helicopters for there to be any apparent deviation. Does Earth rotate under helicopters when they hover? RC Meisty?
What I said, Nathan, was...
my question. Does Earth rotate underneath, in brackets not a straw man, the demolition of his argument, does Earth rotate underneath a hovering helicopter to demonstrate an apparent deviation, as you must have on a rotating Earth?
That's a false dichotomy.
Not a false dichotomy, it's a question. It seems I ask questions and get accused of logical fallacy by spastics, who don't seem to understand the difference between a question and an assertion with a logical fallacy.
Because your question is an assertion.
My question is a question. Does
not.
Earth...
I've listened...
Does Earth rotate That's your fundy assertion, your claim Earth's rotating. Does Earth rotate fundy with a religion about Earth rotating? I'm asking you a question about your fundamentalist religious belief in a sphere Earth, not making any assertions, not making any straw men, not making any false equivalencies, asking a question about your religious belief in a spinning Earth. Does the spinning Earth that must spin underneath objects in the second inertial frame of reference, does Earth spin underneath a hovering helicopter?
And your stuck premise is the word underneath.
Sorry, that's a yes or no question. Does the spinning fundamentalist bullshit sphere Earth that's supposed to be spinning underneath spin underneath something that's fundamentally not demonstrating anything spinning underneath it? That's my question. Yeah, you laugh it up, Fundy. I'll answer because you don't seem capable. No! That hovering helicopter's definitely not demonstrating the apparent deviation required by a spinning ball
I
Earth.
love how you pigeonhole me.
He's talking through my conclusion every time now. It must be very triggering for you. Every time I get to the conclusion, you start talking. Yeah, Earth isn't... Oh, there he goes again. I'll keep doing it till he can actually listen, soak it up, take the pain. He can't... there he goes again. Fundy can't take the pain. Can't take the pain. Can't take the pain. It's very troubling for you. I'm going to say it at least once and hope that you listen. I know it's hard.
I'm listening.
Earth isn't...
I'm listening.
Earth isn't... demonstrably isn't doing what it must to have Coriolis. Hovering helicopter. That he can't do it, Fundy.
Yeah,
very
you're
triggering,
in the
very
really
troubling.
is world
It's
now,
hard for
buddy.
him. It's hard, Darwin. It's very hard for him. I'll try again.
Nathan.
No, I hadn't even started. Didn't even get a breath in. I'll try again, Narcy Meisty. I know this is tough for you. You have a religious belief in an Earth that spins underneath to give you Coriolis deviation, and a helicopter that hovers is a very clean demonstration that there isn't any deviation. It's hovering, and the Earth isn't rotating underneath it, as it absolutely must if it's rotating. Because if it's rotating, you'd have a Coriolis effect, as asserted by the globe Earth religion. Earth's supposed to be rotating underneath,
not as asserted by
and he still can't do it. It's so troubling. The conclusion's very painful for fundies. I will get there at least once, RC Meisty.
Nathan,
hovering...
I'm
he
really
can't.
open to...
I can't listen to the full devastating truth about how Earth doesn't have Coriolis effect. How a hovering helicopter obviously isn't deviating because Earth's rotating underneath it, because Earth isn't rotating underneath it, it's hovering. He can't listen to that in its entirety, it's too hard. Is Earth rotating under a hovering helicopter, and if so, what speed? That, ladies and gentlemen, would be yet another protracted silence at a question that he can't claim is a logical fallacy. I've asked how fast the Earth that's supposed to be rotating underneath these things to give you a deviation is rotating underneath the hovering helicopter. Answer, long silence.
Can I say something?
I honestly don't understand what you're trying.
Oh, you're trying to prove Earth is rotating underneath things that are in an inertial reference frame, like a ball, bullet, helicopter and plane, because that's what must happen for Earth to have Coriolis effect. Earth must rotate underneath these things so that you can stay on that rotating frame of reference and observe an apparent deviation because you're rotating underneath it. That's what must happen to be in line with the globe Earth assertion we have a Coriolis effect. Earth must rotate underneath. Now, obviously, if a helicopter's hovering, Earth isn't rotating!
Okay. So, Nathan, you have to define at what scale and with what measurement you want me to express my answer.
I want you to demonstrate that Earth has a Coriolis effect by demonstrating that Earth rotates underneath helicopters when they leave the spinning reference frame of a claim to be spinning Earth. Unfortunately, by the very definition of hovering, that assertion that Earth is spinning is debunked. There is no apparent deviation. Earth is not spinning.
But that doesn't debunk it.
Debunk the claim that it's spinning? Yes. Me pointing out that to be spinning, the Earth must rotate under a helicopter. It's claimed to be spinning, and by spinning, demonstrating Coriolis, which the helicopter is not demonstrating. Earth is not rotating under a hovering helicopter. Ergo, Earth is not spinning. That absolutely debunks the claim that Earth is spinning, and proven by deviation demonstrated by Earth spinning underneath. That's what's claimed to prove Earth spins. Gyros, for example. So if a gyro's claiming to prove Earth spinning underneath, then it's got to spin underneath. And it doesn't.
Nathan, your snug premise of using the word underneath.
Yeah, we got to that with the description. Beneath, it's on screen now for the audience. Yeah? It makes it really clear why you get the apparent deviation. Because the Earth is turning beneath it. That's what it says. That's what gives you Coriolis. But we're back to circle-jerking Fundy asshole saying it's a straw man when the definition's on screen for the audience.
Nathan's triggered.
Not triggered.
No.
Let's say it really. I like it. Let's say it really calmly. Let's say it with a big smile into the mic, nice and close. I'm not triggered. You're claiming my focus on the necessary ingredient to have Coriolis, Earth rotating underneath, is somehow unreasonable when there's a definition on screen that says doing so because the Earth is turning beneath it. So it's not me triggered. That's your projection of your demolition. No, friend. You're just wrong. You keep interrupting me. You're clearly triggered because you can't wait to get your rebuttal in while I talk.
Can I?
Go ahead,
For a
Arwen.
second? Right, but Nathan,
Yeah,
why can't the atmosphere move in lockstep with the Earth, yet the Earth rotate underneath? Why can't that happen at the same time?
Because that's a contradiction in terms.
It is?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe we could make that make them understand that a little better.
They're in cognitive dissonance. They're holding two positions simultaneously at the same time. He believes Earth rotates underneath the inertial reference frame of a gyro, but simultaneously claims that they're travelling as one. So you can't have it both ways. Either Earth's rotating underneath to give you Coriolis effect in balls like Neil deGrasse Tyson asserts, or bullets like George asserts, and helicopters that don't demonstrate it, and planes that don't demonstrate it. You've got to have it with all of them, not just the ones with the short hang time. No, the ones with the longer hang time, with Earth rotating underneath it, or let's use the citation's words, because the Earth is turning beneath it, would demonstrate the deviation to a greater degree. But you seem to want to claim, R.C. Meisty, that we don't see it at all?
Yeah, the longer you stay in the supposed second reference frame, the more Coriolis deflection there will be.
Correct. The more the Earth rotates underneath, the longer you stay not attached to it. 1.5 hour flight time from Charlotte, North Carolina to LA if Earth rotates underneath to give you the Coriolis effect they claim happens when Earth turns beneath it. Maybe we're just too focused on this nuanced detail / necessary ingredients to have Coriolis. Maybe it's just too nuanced for these fundies to understand. Is this detail about Earth turning beneath too nuanced for you, RC?
Nathan, perhaps we should just concede that this guy's a moron and just give up on him.
Yeah,
I think it's
not just him though. It's all the ballers, all of them. Look at them in the chat. They're triggered because they don't understand this argument, their own argument. They don't understand. They're not understanding that that's in front of them, this citation from one of them, absolutely destroys their argument. They don't get it.
Chocolate.
Yo.
But look at hurricanes. It's hurricanes.
Hurricanes.
Turbulence. Hooray.
We got George yesterday on Ranties or whenever, a couple of days. George admitted that planes do experience Coriolis. It's just minute. So see, now we're up to a third excuse. So the first excuse is the
we're back
atmosphere
to it's
spins.
negligible.
Okay, so first excuse
I don't know.
is
I'm
atmosphere
just
spins.
waiting for this
you know,
alternative
Rumpus,
Coriolis effect theory that
Go on,
they're
Chris.
actually applying, yet don't really seem to realize it, as we uphold the real Coriolis effect description. So I'm wondering, what is their definition of Coriolis, if it is not the one that we've been presenting to them?
Go ahead.
If
Chris.
there's some
Hold on, everybody else except Chris, please.
So the first excuse is the atmosphere spins, so therefore the hovering helicopter spins with the Earth magically. The second is if the helicopter or plane starts to actually move, it's underpowered and controlled flight, therefore it doesn't matter. And now the third is, well, it actually does matter, but it's just on such a minute scale that it doesn't matter. So all three scenarios represent a flat and motionless.
When they say at a scale that you won't notice, the Coriolis effect is an apparent deviation. That means it must be apparent to you, i.e. not so insignificant that you don't notice. That would be not apparent. Or, as we would actually define it, not happening.
Funny enough, though, it's immediately apparent on a merry-go-round. Immediately.
Yeah, well, that's what I said earlier, Chocolate. They need to demonstrate, if that is what they claim, that planes basically don't really know. You don't notice it, it's so insignificant. Well, they just need to show a drone launching from a rotating platform like a roundabout and staying above the little X it launched from. With very little deviation, so much so that you wouldn't even notice. That's what they need to show. And when they show it, they need us to then laugh at them for demonstrating that you don't have Coriolis effect. Which is precisely what they're flying in the face of. They're supposed to have Coriolis deviation. It's supposed to be actually apparent. Not so insignificant that you wouldn't notice. That's not apparent then, is it? Not happening then, Fundies? You're arguing for it not being apparent? Okay, Rumpus, you tell us how it's a not very apparent deviation, rather than the apparent deviation that it's supposed to be and supposed to be there, given that the Earth's supposed to be rotating underneath these planes, to have that apparent deviation, not so insignificant that it's not noticeable deviation. That's not how they describe it. Apparently, looking like it's curving away from you because you're rotating underneath it. That would be apparent. You'd notice, not insignificant. If it's insignificant so much that you don't notice, then it's not apparent anymore. So there isn't any deviation. It seems like their weasel words are another little obfuscation for the fact that they're arguing for there being no Coriolis effect. So little you don't notice. Well, you're supposed to be arguing for it being noticeable. It's supposed to be an apparent deviation that you do notice because Earth's spinning underneath, and yet Rumpus is arguing for it being not noticeable. Well, this is supposed to be your proof it's spinning, my friend. We're supposed to absolutely be able to notice it. We want to notice this Coriolis that's claimed to be proving Earth's spinning, not notice it. Are you dumb? You're supposed to be proving we have the deflection, not saying how little it isn't there. Oh my god, Rumpus is retarded.
They all are. They're saying at a 500-mile-an-hour speed of an airplane, it's minute, but the guy standing on Earth shooting a gun has to account for it.
So, shout out to Haas in the chat, right? His comment is, the effect is small, only observed over large distances by projective moving very fast. An aircraft does not experience it because it's being constantly corrected for by steering.
Constantly what? We missed that. You broke up. Constantly what?
Constantly corrected for by, steering.
Okay, so if they're constantly correcting for the Earth turning underneath, well then if they're travelling from Charlotte, North Carolina, which is basically on the same line, there's no correction required. You just get a 1.5 hour flight because Earth turned underneath. It's not deflecting it in any way, shape or form in that instance. It's travelling west along the same line. So from the ground, you're not really going to see any deviation. But what you would see is it hurtling away at great speed because Earth's turning underneath. So that doesn't happen. If you're claiming Earth's turning underneath, it needs to turn underneath a hovering helicopter. Simple. If there's an apparent
Right.
deviation because Earth's rotating underneath, we want to see apparent deviation because Earth's rotating underneath, as opposed to explanations for why that isn't happening, which is what we seem to get from George, senile old bastard Netanyahu, and Rumpus, the complete moron, who's arguing for there being not enough apparent deviation to notice. Well, it's supposed to be apparent and noticeable for there to be an effect that you're using to prove Earth spins. These people are retarded, like thick. You're thick, Rumpus. Stupid. If you think you can argue for there not being enough apparent to notice, then there isn't any apparent deviation to prove your Earth spinning.
Not only
But apparently,
that, but
people can
his
kick field goals and
response is wrong.
use that.
Yeah, so noticeable that he can tweet out. Sorry, Chris, I'm rumpusing you now. Go ahead.
Sorry, maybe my volume's low. I don't know, but his response isn't even correct, because if you ask a pilot, which I have done and many others have done, and you ask them, do you take Coriolis into account? Do you factor for it? Do you do mathematics for it? Do you plan for it? Do you turn for it? The answer is no. My boss is a pilot, and I asked him that question, and he said no. He doesn't think about it. He doesn't know about it. He doesn't deal with it. And so responses you'll get are, well, it's, the computer's doing it. It's automatic flight. Well, the plane that he owns is a little, whatever they call prop plane or twin engine plane. It doesn't have that feature. It's all him. It's all manual. And even if he did have it, what about in the 30s and 40s and 50s when that stuff absolutely did not exist? Pilots do not steer correct for Coriolis. That's a fact.
But they're not going to account. It's not that they need to steer for Coriolis. It's an account for the Earth rotating underneath. The effect that you might observe from the ground, the apparent deviation, is called Coriolis. You seeing it drifting off in a different direction from your rotating reference frame. Given that the Earth's rotating underneath, accounting for it would be non-existent if you're travelling west on the same line, because it makes sod all difference. There's no deviation or steering to be done. You just arrive really, really early because the continent came to you spinning underneath you. That absolutely doesn't happen because Earth isn't spinning underneath you. And all they'll do is explain why it isn't spinning underneath and why you don't have Coriolis, and justify why we don't see any deviation, why helicopters can hover. In other words, not demonstrating Earth rotating underneath as they absolutely claim it does.
You know what I have noticed? It's funny. They'll take into consideration the changing of latitudes, right? A plane flying either north or south, and say that counts for Coriolis. So, but they don't take that same action into effect when we're dealing with east and west. So they think that you'll change speeds going north or going south, depending on if you take off whether from the equator. But if you're taking off from the equator, flying east or west, apparently they don't think that the speed will make a difference. So it's literally like double speak brainwashing.
Can I have a quick say?
Yeah, go ahead, Ranty.
Wouldn't it be far easier, instead of having all these gizmos that account for Coriolis every 10 seconds or so and make these minuscule turns, wouldn't it be better to just change the heading from the start and just say, aim 15 degrees off your heading, knowing that the Earth will spin underneath and you will arrive at that destination? It would just get rid of all the need for all these sophisticated gizmos that apparently move the plane due to the Coriolis effect.
Yeah, but
I have a question.
In the case,
Go
yes,
ahead.
Ranty, maybe that's the case, but in the case of a Charlotte to LA flight, there's no left or right accounting to be done. It doesn't mean you move your position. You take off in a straight line, you fly in a straight line, and that's the end of your journey an hour and a half later because Earth rotated underneath. No accounting needed to be done, just very happy passengers with hour and a half flight times, as opposed to the reality of a 4.5 hour flight time because Earth isn't rotating underneath them.
I have a question.
Go ahead. We're just about to round out, so it'll be the last thing that's said on the live show. Stay tuned if you're watching on Nathan Oakley. Go ahead, QE.
I don't want it to be rhetorical. I want to know how a not real deflection needs to be accounted for. There is no deflection. Why is everyone saying that planes need to account for a not real deflection? Can somebody please tell me that? Flat earthers, can you tell me that?
I didn't hear the question.
Coriolis
What was the question?
effect is an apparent deflection. It only apparently deflects by somebody looking at from the rotating non-inertial reference frame to the inertial reference frame. It is a not real deflection. I'm going to say this again. It is a not real deflection. How do you account for a not real deflection?
You don't.
Flat earthers.
You don't.
Oh, but see, it's confusing
You
because
don't know the
there is two
arguments.
movements.
You
There
don't
is
know
two
the
movements.
arguments, flat earthers. You're part
Come
of
on,
the
John.
problem.
Let me.
Come on, Chris. I'll keep the live show going just to get an answer, as it was specifically designated non-rhetorical. Go ahead, Chris.
So, I mean, to me, it's confusing then because you say one reference frame is inertial, one's non-inertial. Well, but in both instances, there's movement, most likely. So if you're on a rotating platform and you shoot a bullet, the bullet's moving and the rotating platform is moving. So if you're in a helicopter or a plane flying, you're moving, while at the same time the destination is moving. So if you're flying and underneath you're moving, don't you have to correct for that?
Hold on.
You have the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable. You need a... Go ahead.
I was just going to say, just to concisely summarise the problem that QE is highlighting. Someone on Skype's causing feedback. QE. Causing feedback. Anyway, the problem that's being described is the effect described as the Coriolis force. That force isn't real. To observe the not actual deflection, you, the observer, will remain on the rotating platform to observe Coriolis effect. So if you have a situation where you are on the plane, then Coriolis effect is irrelevant because you are not on the rotating platform observing an apparent deviation. Therefore, the only instance that's of any concern whatsoever to the guy in the helicopter or the plane is the fact that the Earth is rotating underneath. If it's rotating underneath, and they'd have to account for that in a very big, real way. But the Coriolis effect isn't relevant to the guy in the plane because the effect is observed from the rotating platform. You staying on the platform and looking at the ball you throw off the roundabout is you observing the Coriolis effect. A fly that's sitting on the ball doesn't give a crap that you observe it seeming to curve. It makes sod all difference. So the only time Coriolis effect is relevant is if you are on the non-inertial spinning reference frame observing the apparent deviation. Coriolis is the apparent deviation.
You got it. Are you catching it, flat earthers? Hello?
With that, I'll say if you are watching this on the Nathan Oakley premiering stream, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, if you are watching this live on Nathan Oakley 1980, this is where we bid you farewell. There was a few after show, or just before the after show, super chats. So another shout out to Flatulent Unicorn who says, "Smash the super chat, you filthy fundy fuckwits." Indeed. Thank you for the super chat, Flatulent Unicorn. Really appreciate it. And MC Universe, who says, MC Universe Sacred Truth Keeper says, "Proof Earth isn't spinning. Just go outside." Indeed. So with that, a huge, massive, enormous thank you to all of today's live panel for making this live debate possible, and of course a massive thank you to all of you in the audience for smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, and all that good stuff. Be sure to check out nathanoakley.com and the Flat Earth Debate Forum to keep up to date with the community debate. Stay tuned if you're watching on Nathan Oakley premiering stream. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I'll see you all in the next video.
Oh, what a day! What a lovely day!